Somebody asked me a question. This is a really big one, right? Because so many of us have these awesome business ideas and we want to jump out there and get the ball rolling. And somebody says they know someone who has a fabulous business idea, but they're always waiting to move forward because they want to get everything decent and in order. And so this person asked me how I feel about telling someone to just jump out there and follow their dreams and do whatever this thing is that they want to do. And so I'm going to give you some advice based on my expertise about why you should or why you should not do this. Hey, okay, so we got Camille and we got Tessa. You guys, I literally just opened this up on my computer so that I can pull this up. And we're going to talk about jumping, right? Because jumping, that's the thing everybody's telling us to do. You know, analysis paralysis ain't no good. Hold up. Let me make sure I get this shared on my primary page too, so that people can get a chance to see it. Should you jump and start your business? And I got two answers, yes and no. Wouldn't it just be so nice if I just gave y'all the yes or just the no? And for those of you that know better, you know why this isn't just a yes or no type of answer. So hold up, I got this together. Bam, I got it going on. So here we go. Should you jump out there? Yes, you should. Should you just jump out there any kind of any way? No, you should not. And here's the reason why. When I say that you should jump, let's make sure we got a clear understanding of what I think that means or what I know that means. When I say get out there and jump, what I'm saying is I need you to stop being in preparation mode all the freaking time. I see people do this. You guys got to excuse me. I'm still just making sure everything is in order. I see people like really wanting to make sure that they prepare. They want to make sure that they have everything in order. They got to hire the right photographer. They want their hair to be right. They want their web page to look great. They want to make sure they got their business page in order because they're going to do networking events. They still believe in using business cards and doing all of these different things to get themselves in position in order to launch their business. And I totally get that. See, we got a couple other people that are with me. Thank you for the hearts. And the problem with that is that what most of you end up doing is that you're constantly always preparing. And I'm going to be honest with you, being in a state of constant preparation reveals that you have the fear of success and or failure. Technically, it's usually the fear of success because your brain is sitting here saying, but what if this happens? Then you're afraid that you may actually get so many people that you will fail. So it's usually a combination of the two, but I don't have time to debate with people on whether or not it's the fear of success or failing. But the point is that for most of you, you have a business idea. You know how to make money, but you don't know how to run a business. And this is why part of me says, no, don't just jump. Some of you, in an effort to prove to the universe that what you're doing, you're sold out on, and you really, really, really want to go to the next level. Okay, I see the comments popping up. Hey, Irma, you want to prove to the universe. So I'm just going to jump, I'm going to leave this job where, I have all of these benefits or this, this tenure or my pension because I'm willing to put it all out on the line. And you just jump out there not realizing that the only thing you know how to do is to get out there and hustle and make some money. But that has nothing to do with understanding how to structure a business. Let me see these comments really quick. Got to think of it like spades and be it with study long, study wrong. Fear of success digested as a fear of failure. Absolutely. Yeah, but you're right. The longer you study and you're studying inside of your own head, Camille, that's where you get the least amount of results. A lot of you have these wonderful ideas about things you want to do. You want to be a coach. You want to start designing jewelry. You want to start making t-shirts. Whatever it is that you want to do, you do need to go ahead and jump out there. You need to put yourself out there so that you can see how people will receive you. And then based on the way that they receive you, that's supposed to empower you to know how to make adjustments. But some of you have a fear of jumping because you have insecurities. You have mindset blocks because you aren't 100% locked in on what you're worth. You don't believe that you're worth the money. And any level of critique actually damages your esteem. And this happens with men and women, but I'm typically talking to my ladies. And the reality of it is that especially if you weren't empowered to be stronger, to be beautiful, if you're too outspoken, then you're considered to be, rude, or to be a bitch, or if you had that aunt that was jealous of you. I've had one of those, and I know some people that are listening right now that they've dealt with that too. Or you've had that mother that was disconnected or wasn't really emotional and didn't edify you or love you and tell you that you were beautiful. You're all of these things. These things are the things that are going to come up. And you need to go ahead, and thank you for the love, you guys. You guys need to go ahead and come on up. You need to come on out. You need to go ahead and jump out there. And what you need to do is you need to erase all of that crap. Now, I understand there's mindset work behind this, but I'm just literally telling you the nuts and bolts of what you need to do. You need to be able to be detached from anything that anyone says so that you can be attached to the positive things that someone does have to say. So when somebody does look at you crooked, you got to have thick skin in order to be a business owner. And so by that, and for that reason, you should jump. Now, the rest of you, I'm telling you right now, you don't jump. And yes, let me go ahead and put the disclaimer out there. This is where people stay or they leave. The point of you moving forward and jumping, yes, hello, darling, I miss you too, is that you need to jump with guidance. So many of you jump with absolutely no guidance. And it takes a rare breed of a person to jump with no guidance. And here is the reason why. Because there are too many pitfalls and there are too many decisions that you can make that could put you in financial jeopardy, that could put you in emotional jeopardy, that could kill your stride, that could distract you. And as fast as you start something, you stop. And women, we have a really bad habit of doing false starts, and we will lace those false starts in things like, oh, well, the timing of this just wasn't right, and this came up with the kids, and this came up with my spouse, this happened with my sick mother. All of these things will come into play that will stop you from staying with your business, continuing to operate your business, because you just jumped out there and you didn't have a plan. You didn't have a way to execute. And that means that part of your mindset needs to say, I'm grateful for my current situation. You hear people talk all the time about having a journal to be grateful for the things that you have. And some of you, the one thing you need to be grateful for is that job. You need to be grateful for that job that gets on your nerves, that makes you feel like you can't start your business, because that job is the very thing that is going to fund your business. It's what's going to keep the lights on. Yes, false start, so true. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I want you to think about this. So many of you, when you get out there, if you leave your job and you jump that kind of jump, and you don't have anything set, but you just have a brilliant idea and you can make money from time to time, you put yourself in a position where once you do get out here, you just charge prices and you do anything to get clients. And that can go one or two ways and absolutely kill you. You could be so desperate to get clients because you just jumped out there the wrong way that you don't charge enough money for what you do. And when you don't charge enough money for what you do, what ends up happening is you end up hating what you do. And then you say, well, this wasn't really what I thought it was supposed to be, and so I quit. Once again, that wasn't you weren't supposed to learn that lesson from that. You were supposed to say, wait a minute, my vision is strong. What I want to do is strong. My passion is strong, but my pricing was piss poor. My research was piss poor. I didn't understand my market. I don't know what's going on. I'm not aware of what the competition is like. These are the kind of things that you have to think about when you're running a business, and why go through all of the sweat of figuring this stuff out on your own if you can have someone that will help guide you and get you there. What's going on, Chandra? You want someone to be there to guide you and to help get you there. And so unfortunately, I'm going to just put it to you like this. The online coaching industry to me sometimes resembles church. Okay, the online coaching or industry to me, and for those of you that know me, y'all know I'm not a fan of church. I'm a fan of God. Okay, I love God, but I'm not a fan of church. I'm not a fan of church folk. And people that follow me, they know that, and you can like it or love it or whatever, but that's just being real. Well, a lot of times what happens with church people is they always just talk about the passive aspects of living a full life. It's always laced up in just prayer and fasting and hoping and waiting on God. A lot of church people don't move because they still waiting on a sign for a gift that's inside of them, and whether or not they should move forward. And then what ends up happening, in order to get them to move forward, a lot of people are manipulated in churches and saying, well, according to your faith, be it unto you, and that's the same thing that happens in the coaching industry. It's like, okay, well, what you need to do is you just need to hone in on attraction and what is it that you expect to receive. And so you're caught in the passive act of believing and thinking about success, where a coach like me who tells you that you need to get up out of here and get out here and work, I scare you. But the law of attraction, I know that people don't, everybody, you said, oh, wow, you see the parallel. I'm good. I'm glad. Well, there is power in positive thinking. A lot of you are in that waiting mode, waiting for something to come because you really think that you're going to think your way to success. And because somebody tells you about a time that they thought about something, then you're still sitting there waiting. And here's the next parallel. A lot of people that have ever tried church, if you've ever tried you some Jesus, what's really funny is when you first go, you be like, oh my God, I'm just so down. And you pray, right? And then you're like, oh, Jesus is real. Because I was praying for a job and it just came from out of nowhere. It seems like your prayers get answered just like that. But then as you go through your walk and getting to know God and you graduate, as the Bible would say, you go from being on milk to being on meat. It seems like some of them prayers take a little bit longer to get answered. And you realize that your faith has to grow and it has to evolve. And yes, God helps those who helps themselves. And so the same thing happens in the business arena. Some of you may be like, yes, baby, see, manifestation is real. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking and I'm going to up level my business and I'm going to go to the next level. And because you were thinking and somebody came to you simultaneously, you got a client, you made a decent amount of money off of that one person. You like, look at this. Woo, the law of attraction really works. And you still don't know very much about running a business. And those kind of people, because they think they're going to think their way to success. Yes, from milk to meat, they end up jumping and leaving their job prematurely. I talked to a friend recently who's right there, but I was like, listen, I want you to take a leave of absence from your job, but I want you to do it. You've got everything in position. You've got the reputation, you've got the status, you've got the product. You're already working on having all of your funnels and everything in position because there are certain connections that she has. These variables, it's like not even telling her to jump just yet and leave the job, but take the jump and take a leave of absence so that you can have the time to focus and promote like crazy. And in 3 months, you should have elevated far enough so that you can then say, you know what, I'm not going back. But it's not a premature jump. It's just like one of my clients. It's like, in order for her mindset to be in a position to attract, before we even launched her business, I was like, okay, look, you want to leave your job in a specific period of time. It's possible, but that's kind of difficult, especially since you're starting from the ground floor. But in order to make attraction work, let's talk about what it is that you want and what it is that you desire income wise. Take into account things like taxes and a cost for running your business, and painted this beautiful picture. Okay. Amen message, LOL. And painted this beautiful picture so that she can know what her income goals needed to look like. But like I told her, as you're building and as you're going, if you can keep steady and develop a foundation, you could, for instance, have an income goal of $6,000 a month. What if where you're at, once that day comes to renew that contract or to leave your job, you're only at $3,500 a month? Can you see yourself making the sacrifices that $2,500 won't hurt? But if you leave that job because you've had stability for an extended period of time, you've learned your business, then you can say, all right, but within that 30 to 90 day period from when I leave, because I'm only laser focused on my job and I don't have insecurity issues, I'm going to get out there and beast my business and promote. Then maybe you can take that nasty plunge and you can actually leave that job and move forward. These are the kind of conversations that some of you guys actually need to be having. Some of you all want to take the nesty plunge and you just want to leave your job and you want to jump out there and start your business, but you don't even want to really promote your business. When you talk to people, you know, it's not whether or not you have the pit in your stomach, it's whether or not you talk to people regardless of that pit being in your stomach or not. You're not even the biggest promoter of yourself. If you're thinking that you're going to hide behind Facebook ads, beautiful graphics, a gorgeous website that you still got to get eyes onto, if that's where your mindset is at, then you're not fit to jump and to just do anything. So no, don't get caught in analysis paralysis. Don't study long. You should jump out there and start your business with some basic key fundamentals in place, and don't try to look perfect, but don't jump out there as in leaving your job or leaving some form of security, because it will come back to bite you in your butt. You will find yourself having to end up work a part-time job. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that is one of the biggest things that I've seen with a lot of entrepreneurs. It's called pride. Really, really big pride. You will jump and you'll be like, I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna leave this job behind and I'm gonna start building my business. And after 2 or 3 months of not making the kind of income you need, you end up needing to go get a part-time job. And I've seen so many people not want to be humble and say, okay, maybe I made a mistake and I jumped too quick. And you will hold on and be like, but this month is gonna be the month, and you still got that law of attraction, praying, hoping mindset, and not really that go get them mindset. And then it's like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I had to ask my friends and family to keep my lights on and to pay my rent. It's like, but you put yourself there. You know, nothing wrong happened to you. You put yourself in the position for that to be the story that you had to tell. Sweetie, if you made a mistake, you rebound and you go get another job. You're supposed to have the mindset to say that I'll do whatever I got to do in order to keep my business afloat. When you really sit down and think about it, you may not even have to go get a full-time job. You just may have to go get a decent part-time job to keep you afloat until you get to the position that you're able to make that transition. But all of these things that I'm talking about, wait a minute, hold up, this is a good one. Chandra, you said right, or have the foundation, platform, or passion for your dreams. Some are doing it for the wrong reasons, not because they want to make an impact, but because they hate their job. Yeah, and if you, come on now, if you're going to make this transition to jump and it's rooted in negativity, you can squash it. You can't jump and leave a job because you hated to start your business, because real talk, don't nobody want to say it like this in the industry. Good afternoon, Miss Ebony. What you really end up getting is a bunch of mini bosses. MINI. What you end up getting is a bunch of mini bosses. So I can work a job and have a supervisor that I report to and have some co-workers that I really can't stand. Or I could work seeing that I got an interruption on my side. Hopefully you guys are still, if somebody put a comment in if you're still seeing me going, because I'm showing that I'm frozen, but I'm gonna keep talking regardless and believe it is still there. But anyway, I believe in creating raving fans, because all of my clients are like mini bosses that if I don't perform up to par, or if I'm not right, guess what they're going to do? They're going to whine, gripe, complain, possibly terminate working with me, do very poor reviews. Now, instead of having to satisfy one manager or supervisor that gets on my nerves, now I have to satisfy a plethora of people. And so at the end of the day, you better have passion for what you do. I'm going to say this before I get out of here, because you put this out here, Chandra, and that was so on point. Okay, so it did stop for you too. Camille, I hope that my point wasn't lost. You mess around and just create yourself another job for yourself. You said, I'm taking care of seniors in the evening and doing my passion in the day. Yeah, because that's what you have to do sometimes. You said, okay, but you can still hear me. That's good. Sorry that it's doing that, but you guys, we know how technology is. I'm going to tell you all this, especially working with women, since, you know, men, if you're listening to, and especially if you work with women, go ahead and run with this. It's time for us to stop being in the coaching arena, and we want to just approach this thing like it's only about telling you, yes, you need structures and strategies, do this, that, and the other with your business. Do you know that in my group coaching program, okay, good, I deal with more emotional drama than anything else. It's like when I'm giving these women strategies and I'm saying go out there and jump, they like, okay, well, August, you said write it out. Well, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what my plan gonna look like. This is what my workshop gonna look like. This is how I want to price it. I be challenging them on their prices. Some of them jump, some of them don't, but they at least are open with me and tell me why they will or won't move. And I'll be like, okay, but as a coach, I'm still here with you. That muscle, we got to strengthen it, but we're gonna keep on going. But that's not what stops them. What stops them is a lot of the, okay, well, you know what? I hate to say this, but I'm distracted because my husband, I'm trying to focus, but he's getting in the way. Okay, I'm not showing up and I'm inconsistent in my business because I got an issue with this. You know, well, I was fine until this happened and this person drove me crazy. Come on, ladies, there's so much emotional stuff that we deal with and with who we are, our companies. And so taking that off and not taking all of this energy and putting it into our business, that's something that takes strength, that takes a strong mindset. And so a lot of times I'm dealing with some women with some pretty tough stuff. And for those of you that attended the summit, that's part of the motivation for the summit. I was dealing with women that dealt with emotional crap because you know what? Insecurities, low self-worth, because of molestation, because of rape, financial embarrassment, lack of family support, a spouse that's not on your team when you beast in your business, you know, feeling like you taking on a whole load because you're trying to run your business. You still want to be a good woman and be there for your kids and take care of your house. And it seems like it's not enough hours in a day, even if your business is the only thing you doing. It's a bunch of emotional stuff. And so some of you coaches are out here and you're not fit to be coaches. And you know why? Because the only thing you want to talk to that woman about is her funnel. The only thing you want to talk to that woman about is a bullet point structured list for her program. The only thing you want to talk to that woman about is her marketing strategy and whether or not all of her stuff is in place. But the person has got to sell it. The person has got to show up is damaged. And so this is why a lot of people are thinking that coaching is a gimmick for the simple fact that they're not moving forward and getting the results that they need because they have mental and spiritual blocks that need to be resolved. And so if you're not ready to deal with that, then you're going to have some issues. And then somebody could say, oh, well, August, just send them to somebody else, but that's their level of expertise. Well, I'm going to tell you something. A coach is a much better beast of a coach if they don't have to refer you out for everything. Don't get me wrong. You may have some marital situations where you may need a marriage coach. You know, I'm not saying that every single coach can and should be a one size fits all, but for real, if you're a coach and you built the business, especially in this arena, you should be able to handle that because you've got great eyes for what's ahead because you've dealt with some of it. If you have a circle, then you talk to other women and they've dealt with some of that. And so if my mind and my heart, back to what Chandra was saying, if my passion was not attached to what I'm doing, I would be emotionally burnt out and I would not be able to show up consistently like I do for the people that I serve on a regular basis. For people that have followed me now online, almost going on 2 years now with seeing me on a regular basis, because in the beginning I was a little sketchy, then you know that this obviously is my heart and my passion because I show up relentlessly and persistently every single day, no matter what. And the more I do this, the more strength I even gain. And I raise the bar and the expectations on myself that people think I'm crazy. But that's because it's a passion. On my platform, it's laced with passion. So yes, Chandra, thank you so much for putting that comment in. So I just wanted to come in really quick, you know, give you guys your motivation, your inspiration for the day, because I'm still here. I'm still doing what I do. So do you jump? Yes, you jump. But you don't jump and leave your job. You don't jump and leave yourself without structure. You jump as far as being willing to be known as a business owner. But the other jumping needs to be guided. You need a guided jump so that you don't only have a visual and help, but so that you have strength behind you to help hold you up, to be a pillar, because jumping out here in business, it's no joke. It's no joke. It's not 2-hour work days in the beach. You can build to something like that, but that's not how it goes. You said Tessa listened to me for about 15 minutes on the phone before we went in on the work. Yes. Yes, once again, another sister, another fellow coach out here that's not just about, oh, yeah, by the way, let me tell you that you can write you a book and you can make a bunch of money. So what I want you to do is I want you to just go through these bullet points and these exercises, and then I want you to start typing, and then I want you to write me a book. No, she like, excuse me, before you go to this point, I want to know you. I want to understand you. Some of y'all out here, y'all buying this stuff in order to figure out how to write a book, and y'all looking at the systematic processes, and you wondering why you ain't got a book on the other end, because you don't have somebody coaching you through that stuff in order to make you say, okay, wait a minute, even with all of this going on, this is how I use this to fuel the book. You got just these blanket strategies. But yes, so I'm right there with you. And I can say with format, he talked about keywords, all these different things. You know what? I did a lot of that stuff, but I was still blind. One thing that he did not do was show me something that Tess is showing me, and that's how to strategically weave promoting my services without ever promoting my services, but then at certain points promoting my services while I'm actually writing the book. And that right there is absolutely amazing. And then just as a girlfriend, I can have a conversation with her and say, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good about what I'm doing, but this little part weirded me out. Well, okay, August, bud. Bam, 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 bam. So yes, you guys, some of y'all just doing the wrong kind of jumping. You need to jump out there and expose yourselves. You need to jump out there and run your business, but you don't need to just jump out there doing any damn thing, and especially leaving, secure money behind and putting yourself in a position where running your business is hard for no reason, because it doesn't have to be. So that's your nugget for today. Run with it, take it. Oh, one last announcement. I put it out there, and it's so funny, nobody's responded to it yet. I put a post on my primary page that said, how many of you would like me to do a Q&A with me? And nobody's raised their hand yet on that post, but some of y'all be PMing me, asking me a lot of questions. I just want to say, for the record, I asked publicly. I didn't ask you to ask your question. I just said, raise your hand. If you want to know how you can spend some time with me and ask me some questions and get some direct feedback from whatever it is that you're dealing with, just raise your hand on that post, and then I'll reach out to you to let you know how. Okay, because I got something special coming up, because November 6th is International Raw, Real, and Relentless Day. It is the day that the podcast is opening. And so just putting a little bug out there in your ear. I'll be back later to give more details about that. But yeah, I'm going to do a Q&A day. I hate the expression pick my brain, but I'm going to let you pick my brain. All right, so that's it. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a fabulous day. It's always good to come and talk to you all. I'm out of here. Deuces.